On Tuesday, a federal appeals court ruled that if you're in Texas, pregnant, and need an abortion that could save your life, you're out of luck and you should probably just die. Now, I'm not kidding. The Biden administration had recently attempted to use a 1986 emergency care law to require doctors in Texas that has passed some very draconian anti abortion measures to provide abortions for women whose lives are at risk due to their pregnancy. So this should be the life of the mother, right? I mean, you have Republican politicians that are like, well, of course we care about the life of the mother. Yes, yes. Well, and they've even carved out some theoretical exceptions, okay? Although nobody really knows when to apply those. There's a lot of ambiguity around all these different anti-abortion laws that have been passed in places like Texas. And so, there are constant questions, constantly doctors having to go to lawyers and ask, is this okay? Is this okay? Can I get an abortion here? Can I do this? Can I do that? But in this case, the very conservative Fifth Circuit has ruled that no, if you need an emergency abortion, you are out of luck. Now, the administration's guidance was challenged by anti-choice groups, along with the state of Texas itself. So that's Ken Paxton filing on behalf of Texas, the Attorney General. And first they won at the district level. So the Biden administration then appealed, but since the district falls in the Fifth Circuit Court, well, you've got Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi that are represented by the Fifth Circuit, and so it was quickly rejected by the unanimous three-judge panel. Activist judges. I mean, what else would you call it? Okay, activist judges. Now, the ruling said that the guidance cannot be used to require emergency care abortions in Texas or by members of two anti-abortion groups that filed suit: the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the Christian Medical and Dental Associations. So, look, in their opinion, they said that the language of the 1986 emergency care law only requires that hospitals try to stabilize the pregnant woman and her fetus. Oh, well, okay, well, I mean, what if they can't be stabilized? What if both of them cannot be stabilized? What if for one to live, the other has to die? Apparently, they didn't take that into consideration. The opinion written by Judge Kurt Engelhardt said, "We agree with the district court that EMTALA does not provide an unqualified right for the pregnant mother to abort her child, especially when EMTALA imposes equal stabilization obligations." Now think about that, right? So the assumption here is that what? A woman will have a medical emergency, fake a medical emergency, or cause herself to have a medical emergency in Texas so that she goes to be able to get an abortion. Again, that's the wild assumption that they come to. And like at the point of where emergency abortions are usually performed, it's pretty late in the pregnancy, of which even under Roe would be, okay, we can't give you an abortion at this date unless there is a medical emergency. Okay. So my whole point there on that is that generally by that time, women who are pregnant will know whether they want the child or not. So it usually is an emergency. It usually has to do with the health of the fetus or the mother, and that child is generally wanted at that point, okay? And so this is a situation that, again, is a tragedy because you have a medical emergency and this woman goes to the hospital to try to get reproductive care, just to get health care, which is reproductive care, and denied. Oh yeah, we'll try to stabilize you. But again, in the situations where you can't stabilize them, then what? Again, the child could die in the womb or be stillborn. The mother could end up being sterilized. She could have severe blood loss, which could end up killing her. And not only that, but even future fertility of this woman even if her life is not in danger, even if her life, they can save her life and stabilize her, there is a possibility that she could be infected. There could be an infection in the womb that could develop from not being able to deliver a dead fetus, for example, that could destroy her future fertility. I mean, why risk it in those circumstances, right? Why is the state getting involved in this and forcing women in situations where they're having medical emergencies to endanger themselves further rather than be able to get healthcare? Again, these are very, rare circumstances where you run into these issues. And of course, look, there didn't even need to be a ruling on this because, as I mentioned before, if you're at a certain point in your pregnancy, you already know that you want that child. And so of course you're going to be like, no, stabilize, save us both, save us both. But there are those situations where you can't. And keeping that child in there, that fetus in there, that may or may not be alive or will be, will die right soon after delivery, and they can't induce a natural birth. They've got to get that fetus, the body in some cases, out before it does even more damage to the actual woman. But no, apparently they don't care about that. They don't care about the pro-life, being a real pro-life person, right? Which is protecting, again, life of the mother, okay? And allowing her to make choices for herself. This is big government taking over and dictating what women can do and what hospitals can do. This is literally government getting in between a woman and her doctor. Because the doctor might be like, okay, this is a situation where we need to have an emergency abortion. And government bureaucrats come in and say, nope, I don't think so. Bullshit. What are you talking about? It's like the politician in the delivery room or in the hospital bed, standing right next to it saying, no, I don't think so. We're pro-life. No, you're not. You're just trying to inject yourself into someone else's personal life. Now, it's not going to surprise you that the panel that ruled this way are Trump supporters, Trump appointees, sorry. In fact, Engelhardt and Wilson were nominated to the court by Trump. And then, of course, the only woman on the panel was nominated by former President George W. Bush. So these are the Republicans that have ruled that even if you have a medical emergency, they're going to get between you and your doctor at the possible cost of your life and your future fertility. So much for small government, so much for pro-life.